Thanks for joining me for another airbrush Q&A video. In these videos, I answer your airbrushing questions. If you have an airbrush related question that you want answered, then leave that in the comments below, and there's a chance that I may feature it here. Let's get into the question right now. So this question comes from Vet Junkies 06BB. I hope I got that right. How you doing? I'm doing well, thank you. Hope you're doing well also. I love your work and I've commented on your vids before. I've been painting cars for about 20 years and I do lots of custom jobs, so I'm great with colours and have some artistic skill. But my question is, do you think you have to be a great artist or good at drawing to be a good airbrusher? I would definitely join your online classes, and I've got an Eclipse and a Micro C. So I'm assuming the Micro C is a Micron CMC or CMC Plus. So this is a great question. The reason is I get asked this a lot, especially when people are booking into my classes. Do I need to be able to draw? You know, I'd love to do your class. I'd love to learn how to airbrush, but I can only draw a stick figure. It's all good. You don't need to be able to draw. There you go. There's the answer to the question. I'll give you some more context on that. So one of the first things you can do to transfer a design is find something that you like. For example, this skull here, just printed after doing a Google search. And then what I'm going to do is just cut out some of the main areas. I'll just show you quickly using this blade. And this is just going to give you key points to create a paper mask, which you can then use to spray without needing to be able to draw. Another thing you can do is using some tracing paper, sit your artwork under there and then trace around all the key areas again. So obviously you'd print this to scale and you just follow your lines. You get the idea, and you can see there's the beginning of the skull. So you can definitely use a tracing paper, but it's just as easy to just get the image and go from there and make your paper mask. Okay, so let's say this artwork's been printed out to scale and you want to transfer it onto a flat panel or even say a Harley tank or something like that. Then what I would do is you need a light box. So I'm actually using my overhead projector as a light box because that's what I use if I do need it. And put your image upside down so you can see here I can't see through it currently. When I turn it on, that's what the light box is for. Using a 2B pencil, so you want a soft one, just draw on the back, okay, like so. Just going to do this really quick and rough. Now if you're working on a dark surface, like I said, say a Harley tank, I tend to use a chalk pencil to do this, and then it will transfer onto the surface. And then I generally just spray an Intercoat Clear or just a colourless binder over that chalk just to seal it in. But the principle is still the same of this transfer method. So just excuse this, I'm really doing this quickly. Not going to add in a lot of detail, but I think this is a good thing to show you because it's a very, very handy technique. So obviously if you want to print it larger, then you can take it to a office supply centre and they should be able to print it for you. Okay, so now that that's outlined, when I shut it off, you can see I've got my lines into place. And let's say we want to transfer that onto this sheet of paper here. What you do is you take your sketched version, flip it the other way around so you can't see any of the grey lead because the grey lead is obviously on the back. Then using an HB pencil, you can just go right over the top of the whole design. If you want, you can tape the edges so it doesn't move, but I'm just going to do this really quickly. It's only a demonstration, doesn't have to be exact. So even areas that I know I haven't got grey lead on, you can just go straight over the top. So it's kind of like carbon paper. You're making a transfer of it. So by all means, you can definitely buy carbon paper as well, but this works just as easily. And once you're done, you can see I've got the outline. So if I spent a bit more time, I would have had a nicer, neater outline, but as you can see, it's pretty easy just to get that transfer on there. So the other thing that you can use is a projector. This is an overhead projector, so one of the old school ones, but works really well. It's the one I use in my studio. Very basic. You just put a transparency in there and it'll blow it up to whatever size you need. So you can see I've just sort of cut around this bit of paper to block off some of the other images on here. You can see that skull there that's been drawn out. So you'll notice how large that image is, but I can now come in and just easily sketch that out and then airbrush it straight on the walls. So these overhead projectors are super useful if you're doing large wall murals because you can enlarge your artwork so easily. And the other benefit is I haven't turned off any of the lights, so I'm working in complete brightness so you can work during the day, you don't have to wait till it gets darker in order to project your artwork. You can also use them to reduce the image and project up on a canvas, so that's something to think about as well. So you don't have to go with an overhead projector. They are difficult to find. I was lucky enough to find one, so I grabbed one as I wanted something that I could use for large-scale murals and during the day. So some other projectors that are available are the Artograph, the Super Prisms. They are quite good. I used to have one of those years and years ago. They've probably updated them quite a bit since. You used to be able to get an image, say a printout off your computer or a photograph, and put it straight into the projector. You didn't have to make any transparency or anything, and it would just project it straight on in full color. So they're really good. So you can also get digital projectors. They vary in price. So you can get obviously relatively cheap ones going up to real high quality, and depending on what you want and what accessories it comes with and the clarity and all that sort of stuff, that will determine the price. So take a look into those as well. I haven't had much use of those. I use one where we teach, which is really good for projecting an image. But apart from that, I haven't had that much use using one of those particular projectors. So I can't give you accurate information on it. If anyone here that's watching the video wants to share some of their knowledge about those sort of projectors, then by all means leave it in the comments below, and then that way you can help other people within this community. And one of the final things that will help you if you can't draw are the freehand templates. So this one here, the Reaper template by Airshot Stencils. I'll pop the links to the video showing you how I painted this. But if you watch this channel regularly, you'd know that I do use templates quite a bit just to showcase how easily it is to create artwork, and then that way that helps lots of beginners, which is predominantly my audience for this channel. So freehand templates are great. Obviously you can make your paper templates, but freehand ones like that are solvent proof. You can purchase them not just from Airshot Stencils, there's other brands available. So check out what you're after. You can get specific images as well as obviously texture templates and all sorts of other things. So there's loads and loads on offer if you can't draw. I think the biggest thing to mention is that even though you don't need to be able to draw to airbrush, as I mentioned, all those methods, as well as depending on what you're doing with the airbrush, you know, airbrushing miniatures, for example, adding shading and highlights to them, you don't need to be able to draw. If you're, you know, rendering plastic models, or you're doing body art, or for example, you might be doing special effects makeup, it's not essential that you need to be able to draw. In most cases, you just need to recreate an effect, and a lot of the time those effects can be Googled. You'll find your reference image and you can just work off that. The only time you really need to be able to draw is if you want to create your own original artwork, so from scratch. If that's something that you want to do, then you can still use reference images to help you. You can use programs like Photoshop, which will also help to, you know, create layers with those references, and then you can make up your own style of artwork, similar to what I did with this one behind me here. Thanks again to VetJunkies06BB for your question, and I look forward to reading lots of your comments and finding the next question for this style of video. So I think we've determined that you do not need to be great at drawing. You know, yes, it can help, and if you want to do original stuff, yes, you will need to be able to draw. As far as becoming a really good artist, well, that just comes with practice. The more that you actually replicate artwork that you see, the better artist you will become. After you've painted an eye 50 or 100 times, I can guarantee you, you'll be able to pretty much airbrush that eye off the top of your head, and you'll probably be able to sketch it as well. Like this video if you like it, share it with someone that you think might benefit from the content here, and let's build this airbrushing community together. To continue your learning, check out some of the other videos and playlists that I've got listed here, and until next time, go grab your airbrush, do some amazing artwork yourself, and I'll see you again very, very soon in the next video. Thanks for watching, bye for now.